Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Anthony at Chaos Rogue Designs, and today, first episode of Props, Cosplay and Coffee. This is going to be a sort of more off-the-cuff, unscripted kind of thing. And we're going to upload these sort of, periodically whenever I find something really worth talking about. So I tend to, with the morning coffee, I tend to kind of go online and just look at cosplay stuff, look at prop stuff. And, that's across things like Reddit and things like that. And every now and then I find a few questions and I try my best to answer them. I found one yesterday, which I thought was pretty interesting because I was about to sort of type an answer. Then I actually thought, hang about, this actually is worth talking about. So let me just read you the post. It's not a long one. It basically reads, how do you even get started with making props? And this person then goes on to say, I have no materials, zero background skills or knowledge, and little workspace. That basically narrows things down to the question at hand. How would someone like me, who has never made a prop, make one? Just simple things. I wanted to make a little film with some friends as a joke, and I thought that this would be much better than spending money on something intended to be such a short joke. So what the guy's basically saying is, he wants to get into prop making, or, is maybe interested in it, but as I said, got no materials, doesn't really have any knowledge. Basically, let's start with the knowledge thing first. Anything you pick up and learn, anything that you're interested in, you're going to have zero skill and knowledge in that field to begin with. Now, fortunately, nowadays you can really find out anything about anything online. Prop making is no exception. There are countless guides to use basically any medium you can think of to make cosplay parts, to make props, which is really, really awesome. The information is all kind of readily available out there. Now, for zero knowledge, the thing is with this question, if you ask 10 different sort of prop makers this question, you're going to get 10 different answers. I tend to use EVA foam as the material for props. And I use EVA foam because it's very lightweight, it's durable, it's surprisingly easy to work with. You don't need any sort of like power tools. Well, you don't need many power tools for some things, but it's an easy material to use basically. And I say it's lightweight and safe. A lot of the things that I make here are designed to be taken to conventions and things like that. And safety really is number one. It's a real big priority in those places, of course. So having something that's very lightweight is going to be a really good thing for that. Nowadays, things like props, when you go to conventions, are under quite heavy scrutiny. There have been a few incidents in the past and a lot of events that kind of ruin it for everybody else. Can't be trusted. So your props will be inspected when you go to these places, and at least even if you have a very, very realistic looking gun or a sword, if it's lightweight, it's pretty obvious you're not going to hurt anybody with it. So it's good for that. As I say, the material itself is also fairly inexpensive. You can buy it in a sort of craft foam kind of form, which is a bit more costly, or depending on what you're making, you can just use things like floor mats, like yoga mats, things like that. They are a bit limiting. A lot of them have sort of textures on one side, which do make them a little bit hard to use for certain things. But for the general, EVA foam is something that I use for basically all of my props, and I think it's really, really easy to use with a bit of practice, of course. Now, this person goes on to say that they don't have much space. At least with EVA foam as well, don't need a ton of room for it. As long as you've got a kind of work space somewhere that is flat, cutting mat's going to be handy, of course. But you don't need a ton of room to do most things. I mean, if you're trying to make a spear or something, well, of course, that's going to need a bit of room. But things like swords, knives, bracers, things like that should be pretty easy with EVA foam. In terms of kind of what you would need to get started, I mean, I have done a video on this, so I'll put a link in the description for the sort of the basic materials. But you don't really need a ton of stuff to get on started with EVA foam. This post also mentioned that this is going to be a joke film with friends. The only question I would have with that is how much of a joke really is it? If it's going to be something that's really a joke, you know, a 5-minute video somewhere on YouTube or something, and that just be it. Honestly, if you're looking at cost implications of getting your materials, getting your glue, getting your foam, honestly, a couple of cheap guns from the toy shop might be the best way to do it. But if you're thinking, you know, I might actually start making a few movies, I might go to a cosplay convention or something like that, then all of a sudden, you know, buying the materials and making stuff yourself becomes a bit more of an attractive kind of proposition. You can really make some cool stuff with EVA foam. Like I say, we make mostly weapons and armor here. But if, let's say, I don't know, in your movie you want to have some gold coins or something along those lines, or a can or some weird bottles or something like that, you can make just about everything out of EVA foam. Just as a little example, I mean, you know, say we've done a build guide even on this channel for a Halo knife, a knife from Halo, which was, this is going to go mad with the green screen, by the way, because it's shiny. But so we made this one quite recently. This is pretty cool. Whoa, look at that crazy effect. But anyway, you get the point. It's pretty cool. And you know, with the right painting, it can look pretty realistic. It can look like metal. We've made more complicated pistols. That one was pretty cool. This is one from Apex Legends. But we even make sort of, you know, assault rifles. This is one that I have been making for a while. Not painted, but, you know, EVA foam as well. The end of it is cardboard, just because it's a cylinder. It was easy enough to get hold of. By the time it's painted, you'll never really know the difference. So back to that question again at hand. So how would someone like me who's never made a prop go about making one? Well, first of all, I think you kind of need to decide kind of what you're planning to make in the first place. Scour YouTube, see if there's anyone that's made anything similar to kind of what you're trying to build. But I'd be very surprised if you found something that you couldn't realistically make out of foam. With foam, its only real limitation would be if you're trying to make something a little bit longer, like a spear maybe, or a sword. Eventually, foam being a little bit bendy and a bit floppy, going to run into a few issues with needing sort of some stabilization. But if that's not something you really need to do, then well, you don't even need to do that. It's a really good, easy, versatile material. I think, I mean, it really depends how seriously you want to take it, honestly. If it's something that you're kind of interested in for filmmaking generally, awesome. I think that's a really cool kind of skill to have. But if it's a one-off kind of thing, maybe just, yeah, it's just a one-off kind of one and done. I'm not really that interested in making stuff. I just thought for this little movie it might be cool. Might end up being a bit expensive getting all the bits to make what you're after. But I honestly think in this sort of day and age now, with how things are, I know that's kind of cliche to talk about it at the moment, but having something creative that you can kind of just do, yeah, I think it's good. It feels good to do. So that's my take on it anyway. Yeah, so this is going to be the first of hopefully a few videos like this. Find anything else sort of worth talking about? Any questions that I can just answer in video form? I think we'll be doing that every now and then. Things like experiments and build guides and whatnot. Those, of course, are still going to need fully edited videos, don't get me wrong. But something like this, yeah. Hopefully it worked out pretty well. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Like the video if you made it this far, I suppose. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing more stuff like this and more stuff to do with cosplay and props in the future. And I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Bye for now.